Cranberry. My name is Michelle Anderson. I'm an occupational therapy assistant student with Austin Community College. How are you?
Good.
Just for your safety, can I get your date of birth?
Sure. January 27th, 1982.
Okay, and can I check your hospital receipt? Oh, thank you. All right, I'm going to pull up a seat here next to you. I am here today to do manual muscle testing on the scapula. What that looks like is I'm going to walk you through various ranges of motion, and I'm going to apply resistance to see if you have enough muscle power to get back to your occupation of rowing. It's going to take about probably 10 or 15 minutes. Do you want to do this now, or do you want to wait till after lunch?
Now it's great.
Okay, good. There is, hopefully not, but there is a slight risk of pain when you're going through these motions, so if you do feel any pain, just let me know and we'll stop. Speaking of pain, what is your pain level today? How are you?
I have no pain.
Awesome, okay. Let's see. Do you have any questions for me about how this works?
No questions.
Okay, good. When we're going through this, I'm going to need to place my hands on you to apply the resistance. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, and are you ready to get started?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So before we start, let's go over the grading scale for manual muscle testing. It's on a scale from 0 to 5. So 5 means that it's normal muscle power. That means you can go through the full range of motion and you don't break the position with maximum resistance. A 4 would be good, and that means you can go through the full range of motion, but you would break with maximum resistance. A 3 is fair, and that means you can go through the full range of motion, but you would break with minimal to no resistance at all. A 2 is poor, and that means you can only go through the full range of motion if we eliminate gravity. 1 is trace, and that means that there's no visible motion, but when I palpate the muscle, I can actually feel muscle contraction there. And then 0 is 0, and that means there's no motion and no muscle contraction, okay? So before we get started on the actual testing, I just need to do a quick postural assessment. So if you can just put your feet flat on the floor, have your hands down by your sides, palms facing out. And I am just looking at your frontal, your sagittal, and your transverse planes. And I'm checking for alignment and symmetry and rotation. And then also, since we're going to be looking very closely at the scapula today, I'm going to just take a look at those, check the symmetry on them. Very nice. All right, so the first test we're going to do is scapular abduction and upward rotation. The muscle that powers that is the serratus anterior muscle. If I were to palpate that, I would go on the lateral side of the rib cage, under the axilla. It's ribs 1 through 8. So right here is where I would palpate that muscle. The motion, I'm just going to walk you through it, and then I'll actually have you do it. I'm going to have you raise your arm to about 130 degrees. I will be standing next to you, and I will stabilize. Actually, I'm going to test this arm.
Sure.
We're going to stabilize you underneath the inferior angle of the scapula, and I will be applying maximum resistance to the humerus just above the elbow. Okay, so if you could go ahead and raise your arm up to 130, which is about the level of the nose. I'm going to go ahead and stabilize you here. I want you to reach towards that cabinet there. Good. Hold for me. Don't let me push you down. Okay, good. You can relax. Did you have any pain with that?
No pain.
All right, good. If you were not able to do that, if we needed to do gravity eliminated, I would have you do the same thing, except we would lift you only to 90 degrees, and I would support you underneath the elbow while I palpate the serratus anterior right here. Okay? All right, next we're going to do scapular elevation. This is just going to be shrugging of the shoulders. I am looking at 2 muscles here. I'm looking at the levator scapulae, and I'm also looking at the upper trapezius muscles. When I palpate that muscle, I would palpate at the insertion, which is along the clavicle, the lateral third of the clavicle, posteriorly, so it's like right inside there, where I can feel the muscle firing. Oh, you just did it, thanks. All right, I'm gonna have you're short sitting, hands are in your lap. Good, relax this way. And I'm actually gonna stand behind you for this. Would you do me a favor, can you just scoot back in the chair just a little bit? Good, thank you, so I can get good resistance on you. I'm going to have you raise your shoulders up to your ears. Hold it, don't let me push you down. I'm applying pressure down to the shoulders. Okay, you can relax. Did you have any pain with that?
No pain.
Okay, good. If you weren't a 5 on that, I would do gravity eliminated by having you lying prone on the mat, and I would support the shoulder right here underneath while palpating the upper trapezius muscle here. Okay, now we're going to, let's go to the mat. Take it to the mat. So here, I'm going to have you lying, you can put you want a head down here, right? Okay. All right, so your head goes down here, lying face down on the mat. So go ahead. Okay, good. Your shoulders at the edge of the bed. I'm going to raise this mat up just a little bit. Going for a ride. Okay. This is for scapular adduction. And the muscles that we're looking at here are the middle trapezius and rhomboid major. To palpate the middle trapezius, I would start at the T1 vertebrae down to T5, right along the line of the vertebrae right here is where I can feel the middle traps. I'm going to have you abduct your shoulder at 90 degrees. Your elbow is flexed to 90, and you're at the edge of the bed. I will be applying resistance. I'm going to bring you up just a little bit further. I'm going to be applying resistance to the humerus just above the elbow, and I'm also going to stabilize the contralateral scapula just to make sure that there's no trunk rotation there. And I think everything looks good for positioning. Go ahead and raise your elbow up to the ceiling. Hold it there, don't let me push you down. Okay, good job. Did you have any pain with that? Okay. For gravity eliminated, I would cradle the arm under the elbow and under the shoulder, and I would be able to palpate the middle traps, T1 to T5 for that. Next, we're going to do, I keep patting you on the back. Next, we're going to do scapular depression and adduction. The muscles that we're looking at here are the middle trapezius and also the lower traps. I would palpate the lower traps T6 to T12, right about here. And the position that I need to put you in, I'm going to have your arm abducted and elevated to about 145 degrees. There's not a lot of room on this bed for you to do that. The arm needs to be in line with the fibers of the trapezius muscles. The forearm is in pronation, I mean not in pronation, it's in neutral, and your thumb is up to the ceiling, okay? I am going to stabilize the contralateral scapula, and I will be applying resistance to the forearm just above the wrist. I need you to raise your arm up to the ceiling, hold it there, don't let me push you down. Okay, good. If you were not able to hold your arm up for gravity eliminated, I would support you underneath the elbow right here, and I would be able to palpate the middle trapezius, T6 to T12 right here. Okay, now we're going to do scapular adduction and downward rotation. Oh, and for this, for scapular depression and adduction, the head has to be facing towards the testing arm. I forgot to verbalize that, but she was already in that position. All right, so, oh, and did you have any pain with that motion? Okay, good. All right, now for scapular adduction and downward rotation, we're looking at both the rhomboid major and rhomboid minor muscles. I would palpate the rhomboid major, oh, both of them actually, both sets. They insert at the vertebral border of the scapula, which is right here, I can feel them. I'm going to have you internally rotate your shoulder and place your hand on the small of your back. Good. I'm going to be applying resistance in a down and outward motion to the humerus just above the elbow, and I'll be able to sort of stabilize you here without getting in your way right where the rhomboids are inserting. All right, so go ahead, raise your hand up to the ceiling. Hold it there, don't let me push you down. Okay, good, you can relax. Did you have any pain with that?
No.
Okay, you can go ahead and sit up on the mat if you want. All right, and let me go ahead and take you back down, way down. All right, so for gravity eliminated for scapular abduction and downward rotation, you would be short sitting like this, eventually. Uh-oh, didn't go any lower. Tara, will you scoot to the edge of the bed? There you go. Okay, so your feet are flat on the floor. So you would be short sitting for grade 2, and your hand would be in the same position, so with the small of your back. And then I would just be able to support you underneath the wrist while palpating the rhomboids here. All right, now we're going to do scapular depression. The muscles that operate this movement are the latissimus dorsi, or dorsi. I can palpate those muscles along the thoracic wall, laterally, just above the waistline. So right here, I can feel them, okay? For this test, you're going to be long sitting, so go ahead and put your feet out in front of you, cross at the ankles. And I think you're going to need some blocks. So go ahead, and you're going to have your arms adducted to your sides. Oh, you know what, Tara, will you scoot over a little bit this way? I just don't want you to fall in the crack. That would be good.
Her back just a little bit,
Okay.
because the table is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's going this way, okay. Ah, where do we go? All right, does that feel stable to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so your hands are flat on the blocks. I don't know, do you even need the blocks? We haven't worked with these blocks before.
Just the same as the books.
Well, they're just kind of slippery is what I'm worried.
They're not, they're yoga blocks, she's not gonna
Okay,
slip.
all right, good. All right, so let's see. I am going to be actually sitting next to you for this test. Ooh, no, I'm not.
Yeah, sit on the other side.
Okay, y'all did this on purpose. All right, I'm gonna be sitting on this side of you. I'm gonna have a hand out in front of you and one behind you so you don't fall. And I'm going to have you lift your bottom up off the mat, if you can. Okay, good, you can go ahead and relax. Did you have any pain with that?
No pain.
Okay, all right. For closing, let's go ahead and we'll go back to the safety of the chair.
Can you tell me what you would do for a 2?
For testing scapular,
If she wasn't able to do a 5 and lift herself up, what would you do for a 2?
I don't know because it wasn't on there.
We've gone over it in class. You told me, but I need you
I
to
would just palpate the muscles. Okay.
There
Yeah, this is a trick question. Okay. So, Miss Tara, how is your pain now after doing all that?
No pain.
Awesome. All right, so you were able to demonstrate the full range of motion and the muscle power to get back, you got a 5 on everything, to get back to your occupation of rowing. When I see you on Monday, we're going to start manual muscle testing the shoulder. Do you have any questions for me between now and then?
No.
Okay, well thank you so much, you did a great job. Thanks for putting up with the bed.
Yeah.
Before I leave you, I just want to make sure that you're safe. So I'm going to just, if you can scoot back in the chair just a little bit more. All right, and feet are flat on the floor. Your call light is next to you, and I'm going to get this chair out of the way, and I'm going to pretend that you're facing the door.